Marcy, when people say, you know what, let me research that a little bit and get back to you, what are they saying? What are they going to do?
They're going to go to the World Wide Web, specifically to Mr. Google.
They're going to get on the Google. So that's what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at some of the answers that Google has for some of the most common questions that you have. And then we're going to explain them and show you how you can take some of those answers and apply them to real world applications that can put money in your accounts. I'm Mark McKay, and welcome to Sage Smart Solutions.
And I'm Marcy McKay.
Please join us weekly to learn new and exciting ways to protect your assets and retire tax-free. Okay, so let's just do it. Let's look at the questions we have, and I will pull up Google real quick. And all right, Marcy, I've got Google pulled up. I'm ready to show off my high school typing skills. Hit me with your first question.
What causes a person's Social Security to be taxed?
What causes Social Security to be taxed? Now that's interesting because that's something that we've talked about. We've alluded to several times when you compare a lot of our retirement planning strategies are tax-free. You know, we want to have control and options at retirement so that market crashes and tax increases don't short circuit everything. So
right, and so tax-free is not the same jargon as deferred. You want to defer taxes.
The problem with tax deferred is you basically made an arrangement with the government
to kick the can down the road.
To pay them down the road, and they get to determine when and how much you pay them. So think about that.
Right. And the places that are usually wanting you to, take advantage of this tax deferral, they want to keep your money in their products so they can keep charging you fees.
That's
it's
they
sort
have a conflict of interest that if you pay taxes, that's money they can't charge you a fee on anymore.
Right.
So let's look at what Google says here. Pension payments. That's a pension payment. So if you had put money in pre-tax into a pension, or your employer did, and you start taking it out at retirement, which is something to consider. This is not that common anymore that people just have a straight up pension. We can help you replace that.
Right.
But that income, I think it's at about 25, whatever the standard deductions are, but at about $25,000, it starts making your Social Security taxable.
Okay.
And up to $34,000, anything above $34,000, then up to 85% of your Social Security is taxable. I realize I just threw a lot of numbers out there, but let's look at this. Dividends and interest from savings and investments. So what are they saying?
The money that you're making off these vehicles.
But what are they talking about? They're talking about checking accounts, savings accounts, CDs, your mutual funds, so your savings and investments,
right,
that are not in. Well, if they're not in a Roth IRA. That's really, if you're taking distributions and it's not from a Roth, you're probably dealing, unless you have set up a be your own banker, an infinite banking type strategy, or even better, the Sage method that can get you double-digit returns, tax-free with no stock market risk.
A traditional 401k or IRA that will kick it in for Social Security to be taxed.
So think about that. You've got $100,000 in your IRA. Congress raises taxes from 30 to 40%. You decide you're gonna just chuck it all in and go buy a big boat.
Is that your dreams talking?
No, I want to buy the island. I'm not the boat guy. I enjoy fishing and skiing and stuff, but. So they raise it from 30 to 40%. That's the government. You're making the government a partner in your retirement plan,
right? And
he's got veto power.
Right.
You don't have veto. You do have veto power, but you have to exercise it.
Right.
Marcy, if 3 frogs are sitting on a log and one of them decides to jump into the lake, and a heron comes along and eats all the frogs, how many frogs did he eat? 3.
Right.
Decisions don't make you any money. Action does. You have to protect yourself.
I was actually going to say that, and you cut me off.
I cut you off. I gave you a 47-second pause.
It wasn't 47 seconds.
Were you Googling it down below?
No, I don't have my phone here or anything, but I already know that analogy, that, decisions don't
Talk is
count
cheap.
because-
Show up when
okay, all right.
Okay, so pulling money out of your IRA, your 401k is in and of itself taxable.
Right.
It also causes your Social Security to be taxed. The government just keeps taking because they are completely bankrupt.
Right.
The government is currently spending $2 trillion more than it brings in.
And how much debt do they have?
30
trillion.
A little, almost. We'll probably be hitting 31
Yeah.
soon. So
I mean, frightening.
So plan. Put together, make sure that one of your buckets allows you to access it without penalty, to access it without having to worry about where the stock market is, and access it without writing a check to the IRS. And when I say without writing a check, you don't have to report it to them. It is a tax-free transaction.
Truly tax-free, genuinely has flexibility and safety.
Yeah. So let's what was the
what's a bear market?
what's a bear market? That's interesting. It used to be and I realize that should have an apostrophe, but
Mr. Google doesn't care.
a market in which prices are falling, encouraging selling. It's a bear market is typically. Try this.
Bear market.
I haven't tried that before. It's a bear market is a decline of 20%. We think of a bear market as more of a prolonged, but with the way the markets are these days, it's all what used to play out over several years can be a Thursday.
Well, yeah. The stock market is a roller coaster ride that I lost interest in years ago. It just scares me. And I don't like gambling with our family's financial future.
No,
I've never had the patience
and it
or the stomach for it.
And I don't remember the exact phraseology here, but if one of the ways you enter this into Google, it comes out and it says the majority of investors think we are in a bear market, but wait, we also could be expecting a bull. I'm like, that's the problem right there.
Right. It's confusing. It's volatile.
But we've got inflation
changing all the time.
We have rising interest rates.
Right.
And we have rising taxes. This is not the time. This is the time to educate yourself on what else is out there.
Right. In an unstable political climate throughout the world.
Yeah. We talked about the debt to GDP ratio a few weeks ago. The scary thing is that we're right there with Greece and Italy.
Yeah.
Some of these countries that we were so sure were going to go away a few years ago, fiscally. The U.S. should not be at 130% debt to GDP ratio. I realize I got off topic there, but Google what is a bear market, and then decide if that's the appropriate place for your retirement vehicles, especially if you're approaching retirement.
Right.
Because
so,
the timing can just blow everything out of the water.
So if you're interested in
Flexibility,
liquidity, true safety,
solid returns,
tax-free,
true diversification.
Right.
It won't go up and down with the stock market.
Check out our Masterclass.
So
tell them about our Masterclass, Mark.
So if you will see the link below,
That was my Dom Pardo
I got
voice.
it. Become our client. There's a link, takes you to a page. You enter your name and your email. You'll get a confirmation email. Check your spam folder if you need to. When you enter that and when you confirm it, you will automatically be taken to our masterclass, which is just a video about 40 minutes long, but it will explain the fundamentals of what we're talking about, so that when after the masterclass you click on the Calendly link and we set up a 30-minute strategy session, I will email you and say, hey, let's if you've got any existing policies or accounts you want us to look at
Well,
or
it's kind of
factor
a
in?
virtual meet and greet to see if this is a good fit for both parties.
But then after that, if it looks like there's an opportunity here for us to go forward, we will get some data and come up with an actual plan and say, if we make these changes, this is what it's going to look like.
Right.
This move now is going to provide $27,000 of tax-free income on top of everything you've already done in retirement if you retire at 67.
Yeah.
Or let's look if we move this one asset and then contribute for 5 years, what does it look like? We can work that out specific to your family needs. And the nice thing is that we've taken a couple of the big variables off the table. The stock market, when's it going to crash? How many times is it going to crash? How long are these extended periods of bear markets going to last? How high are interest rates going to go? Most importantly and scariest, you've got all your money in a tax-deferred account, a 401k, an IRA. What is Congress? How much of that is Congress going to decide they get to keep?
Right.
And when I say keep, they're just using it to service the interest. We've dug that hole.
Yeah.
It's past that point. So use this opportunity. Don't make any knee-jerk reactions due to the market volatility, but look at it and understand it that this is going to become more and more commonplace, the kind of volatility we've seen the past few weeks. And there are better ways, especially ways that you can take
Smarter
Uncle Sam
ways.
out of your
Safer
retirement.
ways, yeah. Safer?
Safer.
Safer ways. So check out the Masterclass. Thanks for watching.
Have a great week.
Yeah.